Okay, now we will look at RIP version 2, how it works and how do we configure RIP version 2. Okay, to enable RIP, we will run the command router RIP, okay, in the global configuration mode. So entering this command will enable RIP version 1 and the prompt will change to config-router. Okay, to disable RIP, we just run the command no router RIP. After the command router RIP, we need to instruct the router what network to advertise. So we use the network command to instruct this router. So this router R1 is connected to two networks, 192.168.1 and 192.168.2 network. So we run these two commands, network 192.168.1.0, network 192.168.2.0. This will tell R1 to advertise these two directly connected networks to all other RIP router in your RIP routing domain. And this two network will be advertised to all other network every 30 seconds. Okay, note RIP version 1 is a cluster routing protocol. Okay, so if you want to run clusters routing protocol, we need to run RIP version 2. To verify your RIP is running fine, you can run the command show IP protocol. This shows you that RIP is currently running as your routing protocol and currently is running version 1. Okay, route summarization is currently in effect and you are summarized at the class rule boundary. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, and it's currently advertising for two networks. And this will show the neighbor, the current RIP neighbor that's connected to router R1. Okay, another command you can run is to show IP route. If you're running RIP and your router is exchanging route, you should see route that start with R. Okay, it will display the RIP route. So this shows that your RIP is running fine. Okay, to run version 2, the command is very simple. Under the router RIP command, okay, in this prompt, you just run the command version 2. So this should ask the router R1 to run version 2. So take note that version 2 and version 1 are not compatible with each other. So if you need to run version 2, you must run it on all your router in that domain. So do a show IP protocol to show that it's currently sending version 2 and receiving version 2. Okay, and do a show IP route to make sure that your routes are being received in your routing table. RIP version 2 will do auto summarization at the major network boundary. Okay, so if you don't want them to do summarization, you can run the command no auto summarization under the config-router prompt when you run router RIP. This will disable it, and you can do a show IP protocol to verify that the auto summarization is currently turned off. Okay, we'll talk more about this network summarization in the subsequent chapter. Okay, by default, all the RIP enabled interface, they will send out the RIP update. Okay, so they will be sending your RIP update out here and up here, updating the neighbor routers what is your directly connected networks. Okay, so but in this case, if you notice for R1, okay, RIP update is sent to R2, which is good because R2 is also a RIP router. He can know what is the latest update in your RIP routing protocol. But RIP update is also sent out through your G00 interface, which is connected to a switch, which most likely also connected to PCs. Okay, so in this case, this PC here do not need to know the RIP update. The switch also do not need to know RIP update because they are not running RIP. Only routers are running RIP. So the packet that is sent out here is actually wasting your bandwidth here. So, and in fact, it's also a security risk. Why? Because if a hacker come into your network and manage to connect his own router to your network, to a switch, then the RIP update will be sent to this router, the hacker router, and then your hacker router is able to know the all other networks that you are connected to. So it's able to know your network topology. Okay, so in order to prevent that, we can run this passive interface command. Okay, so that to tell this router R1, okay, there's no need to send RIP update through this interface because there's no RIP router connected to this interface. Okay, so how do you run this command? You just run router RIP, okay, and then say passive interface, and then the interface you do not want the RIP update to be sent out. Okay, so in this case, it will be your G00. So to verify that, again, do the show IP protocol command. You're able to see that there will be a passive interface here, and it's G00. Okay. Besides directly connected network, you can also ask RIP to advertise a default route, okay, a gateway of last resort. Okay, so for example, R1 is connected to the internet. So in chapter 2, we mentioned that we usually configure a default route, okay, that points to the internet. Okay, so that if this router receives a packet and he do not know how to route it, this packet is most likely belongs to the internet. This likely going to the internet. So we configure a default route. And the default route looks like this: IP route 00000000, the quad 0 configuration. So in this case, we configure a default route to goes to the internet. Okay, so about R2. Okay, R2 can also configure a default route because the internet is in this direction. We can also configure a default route, the IP route command on R2 to ask R2 to send the packet out through this direction, through this exit interface or the next hop. Okay, and so for R3 also in this direction. This is the exit interface, this is the next hop. Okay, imagine you have a lot of routers, so you need to manually configure the static route, okay, so that it goes through this direction. So instead of manually configuring the static route on all these routers, we can ask RIP to automatically propagate this default route, so that all these static route will actually appear automatically on the router as a RIP route. Okay, to do that, we can run the command default information origin, okay, under the router RIP command. So router RIP default information origin. So when you run that, you'll see a static route on R1, and you also see this static route, this default static route appearing in R2, R3, and all other routers in your RIP routing domain automatically. So you don't have to go into individual router to configure the static route.